So we've had a few days without rain finally, so I was able to get all the water Carolyn needed without the well getting dirty, so she could wash some blankets here. She wanted to get these washed up. You know, you can't really wash the blankets inside in a bucket during the winter, so we have several different blankets, and then she just changes them out throughout the winter, and then in the summer or spring she washes them all. Well, this one she was really getting anxious to change out, but with all the rain we were really struggling with that, so she's happy to get that done. And then she's got her little throw blanket, so I was glad we was able to get the water for her so she could do that. So it's drying out a bit. I'm still going to wait until next weekend. This is what, Wednesday, Thursday, I don't remember, and cut the grass on Sunday. It's dried out a couple days now. We had a really severe thunderstorm the other day, but it didn't rain much, so it was tolerable, and we had a lot of wind. It was pretty devastating wind, but it just didn't rain a lot. You know, it may have downpoured really hard for 15 minutes and then it was over, so we were fortunate. I'm hoping that this will dry out. It's not supposed to rain again for the rest of the week. I'm gonna check in here, see if we got any eggs. Nothing so far. We got 9 yesterday. There's 2 of them laying in there, so. Oh, and we got 1 that's laying over here. I made individual compartments in the coop because I thought that they would lay in there better. Turns out they didn't like that, so some of them were laying out here. I mean, it doesn't matter, it's just I want to make sure that she's turning around. Maybe she's getting ready to drop that egg. Things are looking up finally. Of course, it's real humid. It's not that hot yet, but it's pretty humid because there's been so much rain. Now, I've been telling you for the longest time now that Carolyn's garden looked like it was devastated. So I felt really bad for her. But she brought me down today and she showed me some peas. She's got a pea probably on every plant now. That's pretty cool. Already got peas. I'll zoom in. I don't know if you can see that. So she's really excited about that. Behind that is either broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, I don't remember. Over here we got green beans. And then this is a really neat story. She literally took a celery from a package, I think, from the store, and she grew celery. And it's growing really well. I was surprised by that. I didn't think it would grow. So then over here, I showed you that we had all our tomato plants and pepper plants. And I was certain the tomatoes weren't going to survive. It just rained so much. So in between the rain, Carolyn has been de-weeding as much as possible by hand, just pulling up the weeds by hand. And she's been laying sticks down to show where the plants are. So there's a stick. What's interesting, I just showed you this maybe 2 days ago, and it looked like it was dead. You can see the dead, but it's recovering. They're all recovering. We just needed a few days of dry for them to recover. So there's another one, it's recovered. And so it looks like all of them have recovered. Now there's a couple that are really small. Not sure that they're gonna make it. But at least a majority of them looks like they're gonna recover. I'm really happy for her. She's worked so hard on this garden. Now I mentioned this the other day, and I don't understand what people's thought processes are. First I wanna say I'm not a prepper. That is not the point of what we're doing here. I've said it so many times. The point of what we're doing here is try to find out if we can live self-sustaining as cheaply as possible. You threw millions of dollars at something, yeah, you can do it. But if you say, okay, I want to do this on a budget of $500 a month or whatever, then things become a little bit more complicated. And that's what this has always been. If I had a lot of money, I'd have a full-size house, 20 acres, and a gazillion solar panels, but I don't. I have a tiny house that's just a little bit bigger in the bedroom. I have an 1.5 acres, and I got 10 solar panels. Because I think everybody should be able to afford to detach, to get off grid, for lack of a better term, to live independently. And I wanted to prove it can be done. But apparently there are a lot of people that are not hearing me, because so many times I will talk about a $5 problem and people will come up with a $10,000 solution. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And they're adamant about it. They get angry if I even come back and say, I don't understand, why would I spend that kind of money to for something? So we've got tomato plants. Now, Carolyn raised a bunch of tomato plants, and then she bought some from the store, admittedly, because a couple of them didn't make it. And I wanted 20-something tomato plants this year so we can. The reason is I wanted to make sure that we had enough to can. You know, if you get 10 tomato plants, you don't have enough tomatoes, you'd be starting up the canner, and it wouldn't be a full canner, and it'd be more firewood, and it would just been difficult with fewer plants. So when hers died, I think there were 10 of them or so that died, I decided that we go out and buy some. Now, you've invested money in tomatoes. Now remember, you can go to the store and buy tomatoes. So it doesn't make sense to go invest a bunch of money in tomato plants when you can buy them cheaper at the store. Now, I know the arguments, well, homegrown tomatoes are healthier. Yep, I'll agree with that, but are they that much healthier that they're worth spending a bunch of money on tomato plants? But we went ahead and did it because of the money savings and the time savings and all that to can our tomatoes. So we're already invested in money that's probably more expensive than the tomatoes. Now, the second argument is going to be, well, Rob, when everything goes so high in the grocery stores you can't afford it, you're going to really be thankful that you grew the tomatoes. Again, I'm not a prepper. I'm trying to figure out a way to be self-sustaining cheaply. That is the mission here. Not to be a prepper. Every prepper channel I watch, every one of them, it's the end of the world. Every day there's a new catastrophe. I mean, the day that I watched this prepper, and I have no idea what it was prepping about. It was just, he just wanted to be angry at society. Well, I don't want to be angry. I want to live free and happy and independent. So, tomato plants were going to drown. We were pretty sure of it. So a lot of people came up with solutions. You need a raised garden. Well, okay, but that's going to take time and money. Can't just do it all in 1 year. Remember, we've been doing this year by year, trying to figure out if we could even grow a garden in between all these woods. So yeah, just throw out some money, see if a raised garden will work. Well, we do have that little raised garden that I just showed you where the peas were. That was our test garden last year. So then I cleared out that other side over the winter, all the woods, so we get more sunlight. And then we were going to test that section where the tomato plants are. Well, who knew this would be the rainiest season on record? I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it sure does feel like it. You learn as you go. Rob, you need to get a French drain in there and get all that water around. Well, that's great until we're in a drought. And now I need the water. You see, so throwing in one solution is just going to cause another bad problem, and you're just going to always be fighting it. So I didn't understand why I'm spending all this money. And then the other day I made a video. People said I need to plant the tomatoes in buckets. And this is where all the gaslighting comes in. People love to gaslight you. Like, they didn't say what they said. They said something completely different. It makes no sense. So I was explaining that you'd end up spending $100 in buckets. Again, a $100 solution to a $5 problem. I can go out and buy tomatoes. It's not that big of a deal. Or heck, even if it got real bad, I can still go to Orchlands and pick up some more tomato plants. Wait until this rainy season is over and then replant them. It'd still be cheaper than the buckets. Now then, where am I going to store them? Now, you know, everybody said, put them on your back porch. You won't get any rain on the back porch. The back porch is only 10 foot by 10 foot, right? 12 foot, 10 by 12. And you saw that we have our laundry in there. We got storage of our chicken food. That's where Carolyn's kitchen is. After I made the video, I got a comment that said, even though your opinion says you don't eat tomatoes and vegetables, because I'm a carnivore, I said that in that video, that's just your opinion. You're still going to need vegetables. If nothing else, you're going to have to feed the chickens. Well, okay, so I replied back, first of all, it's not my opinion, This is what I'm doing. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. So they don't even know what an opinion is. Now, I understand what he was trying to say, but he completely missed the mark about what an opinion was. He wanted to say, that's not what I would do. You know, what you're doing is stupid. That's fine, but it's not an opinion. It's what I'm doing. We are not going to buy buckets. Then he says, I don't care what you say, you're still going to need vegetables, even if it's just for the chickens. No, I don't. I can literally go to the store and buy chicken food. Now, I know what he was trying to say there too. The end of the world's coming, and you're going to have to be ready for it. It's not what I'm trying to prepare for. I'm trying to be self-sustaining. I'm trying to teach myself as much as possible, as cheaply as possible. Once we understand what the mission is, then we can stay focused, and we're not spending a fortune on a bunch of projects that are useless. One of the things that I've always been told is I need a smoker. You need a smoker. That's how you preserve food. Well, okay, so I'm going to spend a bunch of money on a device that doesn't actually preserve food. It'll preserve it for 30 days, but you go out and buy a $70 canner and some jars, and then you can preserve food for years. A freeze dryer, you need a freeze dryer. You're going to have to spend $2,000 on a freeze dryer. I mean, I hear that a lot too. Okay, freeze dryer or canning. Remember, $70 for a canner and some jars, or $2,000 for a freeze dryer. Anybody want to suggest to me, and I'm being sarcastic, how am I going to turn on a freeze dryer? I have solar panels. So if you can check out that super thanks button down there at the bottom, I really appreciate it. So if I can inspire you to only spend $5 on a $5 problem, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.